Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Here We Are, Year Zero. I'm your DM, GM, storyteller, whichever you like to call me, Forgotten Dreams, and I'm joined by a lovely host of people, starting with Ellen.
Hello, I'm Ellen. I play via Newton.
All right, via Newton. Next up, we have Eric.
Hey everybody, this is Eric. I played Dexter in the game.
Okay, next up, we have Cabby.
It's me, and I'm playing me.
Fantastic. And last but not least, we have Moo.
Oh, Moo, cool. I used to be Moo in high school, but thanks. Yeah, I play Kira. Hashtag Cyclops struggles. Spread the struggle. Spread it.
All right. So, yes, there are no cameras today, as you may have noticed. If you're not totally familiar with who's who on the overlay, you'll see me in the top corner. I've got Moo to my left. He is the... I'm guessing that's a bunny? I've never actually looked at your profile picture.
Do you want me to turn my camera on, or will that mess up your whole
It'll
thing
mess
now?
up everything
Okay.
now.
I'll just leave it off.
Ellen is the loot.
What the hell is my picture?
I don't know. Eric is the orc, and then Cabby is the humble dwarf. All right.
Oh, there's fuck all humble about me.
So, getting into things, let's first have Dexter. Why don't you take us away with a recap of last time on Here We Are, Year Zero?
Sure, and unfortunately we missed a couple of weeks of our show due to some illnesses and injuries in the group in real life stuff. But last time we played, the crew was making an attempt to finally get off of the cruise ship. Some of the cartel members had began boarding it as we pulled into the early parts of the Panama Canal. As they were boarding the ship, they started open firing on everybody on board. So the group kind of scattered around the ship a little bit. We tried taking cover where we could, took shots of opportunity where we could. Dexter did manage to kill a guy while he was on board, but we didn't really fare too well. And either did the National Guard who was on site. They didn't do real well on their rolls either, so they got gunned down pretty bad. And a grenade thrown from one of the cartel members took out like 3 of them in one hallway. So overall, their assault on the cruise ship was very successful. So we decided that it was time to get off the ship. We made our way back up to the level where the emergency exits were. Matter of fact, one level above where the emergency boats were, so that we could get to the controls to release those. As everybody was boarding the emergency boats, the lifeboats, Dexter went to the controls and found out that they were locked out with a key and a code that he did not have. So he was forced to manually release the lifeboat that everybody had piled into. And it dropped approximately 40 feet down to the water. Luckily, nobody was hurt. But then Dexter had to cling to the side as he lowered himself down and dropped into the water. And we did good on the rolls to drop into the water, didn't do so good on the rolls to swim back to the lifeboat. So he almost drowned. Via pulled him out and saved him. And then they proceeded through a secondary boatway through the canal, and now we're on the Pacific Ocean side of the canal. We ran into 2 visible options where we could go after we got over there. One was a resort island, and we identified that some of the creatures that we've been avoiding and fighting in this campaign were actually in the water surrounding the docks at the resort. So we optioned to go to location B, which was an industrial dock that was doubling for the primary fueling station for the Panama Canal, again on the Pacific Ocean side. So that's kind of where we left off last week. We were just about to arrive there at that dock, and that's the recap.
All right. That's a very good recap. So, bringing us back into the situation, you guys have pulled away from the resort island docks and made your way around the Isle of Toboga. And you have two industrial docks that you had options for. You decided to go for the smaller of the group, which was further away from Toboga Island. It's the small island on your GPS that is named Malones. Unfortunately, your GPS does not include satellite imaging. It's just a here's land and here's ocean, and it has the general names of places listed there. So, you guys are about. Let's do a measurement here. You guys are about 1 nautical mile away from Malones, and already from here you can see that the island is filled from one end to the other with nothing but these massive industrial oil drums. For many of you who play video games, you may recognize them. They're the large white circular oil drums with a single staircase that go up the side in sort of a spiral design. Other than that, there are 3 buildings that occupy the island that are next to an extended dockway, which comes off the island and travels for about a good, let's see here, it's about a good 255 feet away from the actual land of the island itself, is the official dock itself. And it is a long strip of dock that is meant for mainly oil ships and cargo ships. So the actual dock landing itself is probably, I mean, giving it a rough guess, 1,000 feet across. So, what would you all like to do? As the orange lifeboat rocks in the water, slowly crawling towards this island at about 10 knots an hour.
Dexter will walk back to the area where the steering wheel is, and everybody's kind of seated from the front of the boat, and he'll be holding like a paper manifest, I guess, and he'll mention, so the life got approximately a week of food and water on it for the size of the group that we got here. 3 days if we're at capacity on the boat, but we're at about half capacity, so yeah, we can stop here since our options are limited, but we're going to have to get to some form of civilization at some point so we can get some real food again, because we're looking pretty grim at the moment.
Can't hire.
Whatever happened to that cruiser that was supposed to meet us on the other side?
You're talking about the Pacific Fleet?
Sure.
The 7th Fleet, the Pacific Fleet, is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and that's something that I left out of the recap, actually. When we got over to the Pacific Island side, Cabby, Dexter had been speaking with your character a little bit, and your character was taking over comms on all of the radios that we had to try to get back in touch with them to let them know where we were. But so far, up to this point in the game, neither you or I were able to get them on the radio yet.
Gotcha.
Raise my hand even higher. Stand up, raising my hand.
Yeah, Kira.
Dexter looks at her confused for a minute.
Via, do you know how to spearfish?
No, I do not.
Okay, because you're the most competent one amongst us, I think. So I just thought your coolness allowed you to.
I know how to ice fish and fish. But that involves fishing lines and hooks, not spears, unfortunately.
Okay. Do you have any of that around here?